If you want to get your ex back, watch this video. This is exactly the problem with not having boundaries as well. You cannot set boundaries. You cannot say, listen, I don't want you to do these things. If you do these things, we don't have a deal. So as a result, there's no boundaries. She does whatever she wants to do. And he's uncomfortable. Then she realizes he cannot set boundaries. And as a result, she does things that she wants to do, but she knows he doesn't want her to do these things. And you know what happens? Respect goes down. Attraction goes down. So if you're not able to set boundaries because you're afraid of friction, and you don't want the friction because you worry that the friction can cause the breakup, and if she leaves you, you'll not be able to take care of her, and if you're not able to take care of her, then you cannot love yourself. That right there is the end of that relationship. If you watch this video to the end, focus on things that I tell you and learn the things that I tell you. You're going to learn more than spending years in therapy, because I've worked with almost 6,000 guys who wanted to get their ex back. We had a lot of success. Sometimes we didn't have success. I also took myself to rehab center at one point because I had problems with the same thing, and talk to you about the real problems and the real reasons that she left you and how you can turn things around. Watch this video. I'm gonna start by this. Guys who want to get their ex back are usually not honest with themselves because they don't see the problem. The problem is it's always on you. This is something that I didn't want to tell myself, and most guys don't want to hear. Now, what I mean by it's always on you, it's one of these two scenarios. You either picked the wrong woman or you did things wrong. Both is on you. And I see a lot of times guys saying, oh Ben, she cheated because of me, or she did these certain things that nobody should ever do because of me, because I wasn't there for her. I took her for granted. You know, they take the responsibility of her. Or she goes out drinking and she does drugs, and she slept with my best friend because of my fault, because of my problem. So they see all of the problems on themselves, and they don't realize that she's making a lot of mistakes. And quite often I see that the woman has a lot of problems with midlife crisis, for example, and then she goes drinking, but the guy doesn't see this, and he assumes he is the source of all of these problems. His mistake here in this case is that he just picked the wrong person. He doesn't see these problems. There are a lot of different approaches if you're in that situation, but the first thing is you need to see where the problem is and who the problem is. So if she's going out, drinking, doing drugs, partying with other guys, that doesn't mean that you're making mistakes here. That doesn't mean she's doing it because of you. It's a choice. She's making those choices, and I see guys take all of these blame on themselves because, oh man, I wasn't a good lover, so now it's okay for her to go and do this. That's the first thing. It's not always you. Sometimes you may do everything right, but the other person does things to self-destruct, and it also affects you, and she makes it look like it's your fault. So be very careful with that one. That's the first thing. Second thing, there is the concept of codependency that I want to talk to you about. Codependency, it can really turn your life to hell. It's unbelievably powerful. It's like this incredibly powerful source that can completely turn your life to hell. It's very common for guys to want to avoid friction because they worry if there's a friction, she's gonna walk away. If she walks away, then I don't have the opportunity to take care of her. And if I cannot take care of her, then I'm not worthy of love. Guys, avoid friction. So she does some bad things. She does things that create tension. But because for example, she drinks. He doesn't want to talk about it because he doesn't want the friction. Because the friction may get her to break up and walk away. But if she breaks up, then it's very scary for me because I don't have an opportunity to give love to that person anymore. I'm not worthy of love. What am I gonna do if she leaves? So I'm gonna shut my mouth. She goes out, she parties, she goes out to other guys, she does things that I don't like. You might have seen the couples attack each other in parties in front of other people, but he cannot say anything. I think his name was Lester in American Beauty, the movie. Watch American Beauty. There are a lot of ways that this codependency shows itself. Or another variation of this is being a people pleaser. It's also another thing. They feel worthy of love if they give something to another person, if they love another person. If I don't love this person, if I don't take care of this person, I'm not worthy of love. All of this creates a huge fear of disapproval of others. What if they don't like me? What if she doesn't like me? My life is over if she doesn't like me. Extreme. It could be one of the most painful emotional experiences than anybody can have. And it takes people to mental hospitals. This is exactly the problem with not having boundaries as well. You cannot set boundaries. You cannot say, listen, I don't want you to do these things. If you do these things, we don't have a deal. So as a result, there's no boundaries. She does whatever she wants to do. And he's uncomfortable. Then she realizes he cannot set boundaries. And as a result, she does things that she wants to do, but she knows he doesn't want her to do these things. And you know what happens? Respect goes down. Attraction goes down. So if you're not able to set boundaries because you're afraid of friction, and you don't want the friction because you worry that the friction can cause the breakup, and if she leaves you, you'll not be able to take care of her, and if you're not able to take care of her, then you cannot love yourself. That right there is the end of that relationship. Because you are in a relationship that there's no boundaries, you cannot set any boundaries because you're afraid of losing this person. So she does things that you don't like. She knows you don't like these things. For example, she goes out drinking with her friends and she notices that you're suffering and you cannot stand up for yourself, and she will lose attraction. And it sometimes can go so far that the woman starts uncontrollably, unknowingly, unconsciously, without knowing, punishing the guy, and she feels resentment and starts bullying him. It goes really far to the point that she does this on purpose just to get back at him for not having self-love. It's pretty simple if you look at it this way, but it's really complex psychological phenomenon that this happens. And that's why I repeat myself. If you are afraid of losing this person, because if she goes, you cannot take care of her, and if you cannot take care of her, you cannot love her, then you cannot love yourself. Because you're not love worthy if she goes. You basically have no boundaries because she can just say whatever. Because you don't want her to leave. So you give her the pass to say or do whatever she wants. Big problem with getting your ex back, because most people don't know this. They don't recognize this. This comes out after doing month of therapy, if it comes out. When you want to get your ex back, you got to look at things this deep. You got to look at things like this. So you got to, when I say it's your fault, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I mean, it's your fault because you're trying to fix the wrong thing. If you're a dude who has boundaries, if you're confident, you can have boundaries. Because all of the things that I said about not having boundaries, about not having self-love, not feeling worthy of love unless you love her, it comes from not having the confidence. It becomes a low self-image. Let's say you're a confident guy and she goes drinking with her friends, partying until morning. She come back home the next day, you say, hey, we can't have that. I love you, I want to be with you, but I don't want to be with somebody who goes out and parties and drinks. What are you doing? She either says, you know what, fine, fuck you, I don't want to be with you, break up. But which you're fine because you're confident. First of all, you don't need to love anybody else or take care of anybody else to be happy. You're cool on your own. You're happy. These guys are, you can see when you're single, you're at your best. Also good at relationship. Or she says, okay, cool, I'm not going out, I'm not going to party anymore, I'm not going to drink. Which then that is how she complies to you and your relationship becomes better. Female always wants to follow. Female does not want to lead. If you're a man and you're afraid of this, you're afraid of being on your own, that is the root of all of your problems in this relationship. There's of course another things as well on the more surface level. For example, if I think I'm ugly, if I think women don't like me, if I think I'm not enough, if I think I just don't have the skills to meet other women like that. If I'm just not the type of guy that women like. And what happened with my ex was an accident, and that was an exception. Or she came in my life in a very random way. That also creates a lot of insecurities about the breakup. Because what am I gonna do without her? How else am I gonna find this? Usually guys who have really attractive girlfriend and they were either high school sweethearts or they happen to meet in a very special occasion that she just liked him without him doing anything. These guys are very afraid of not ever getting back together. But most guys, if you're a dude, if you're a normal looking average guy, 18-year-old, you're invisible in society. Nobody even sees you. So if you work on yourself, if you learn pick up, then you go over the whole pickup phase and you develop out of it, then you go through a few relationships, then again you get more confident and you realize, you know what, I'm okay with or without it. Then you build yourself, then you work your inner game, then you realize the relationships just come and go and you're fine without it. then another breakup doesn't really hurt you. But you have to go through those, you have to work through those, you have to read all of the books, you have to do the inner work. But if you're a dude who was only with one woman, or you accidentally met this incredibly beautiful woman who's out of your league, and if she goes, all of these things that I said will be triggered, and you feel all of that fear and tension of what if she doesn't come back. Now, one last thing I want to add here, why most guys fail to get their ex back is because they're trapped in this obsession cycle. The woman is gone for any reason. He cannot stop thinking about her because of all of those reasons that I said. Maybe he knows he cannot do any better. Maybe he put her on a pedestal and he realizes for him to go and rebuild all of that, he needs to spend another 5-10 years investment in another person. He doesn't want to do it, or he doesn't have the skills for any reason. He's putting on a pedestal. He has obsession. And when you have this obsession, when you're in the state of lack, you don't have the energy or an open mind to go out and meet somebody else. So it's extremely important that be aware of this, that if you're obsessing over her, your energy is going towards idealization of the relationship and thinking about that relationship as much better thing that it used to be. So get this energy. If you're obsessing over this woman, the first thing you need to do in the program, I'll show you as well, you kick her off the pedestal. Kick her off the pedestal because you need to do that. You need to stop obsessing over her, because if you manage to do that with the tools that I give you, then you have this incredible amount of energy that is released that you can channel in the right direction. But if you're obsessing over her, all of your energy is going towards that, then it will be very, very difficult for you to be able to invest in any other relationship or even approaching any other woman. And that's where most guys get stuck over one person. Look, this is a very complex topic. If you're interested in learning this, you can read my book. The link is in the description. This is Ben. Don't worry, I'm going to help you get your ex back. See you in the next video.